Hello, friend, and welcome to the Sleepy Meteorologist. Tonight, we're drifting gently into the soft beginnings of rainfall, into the quiet, delicate process of how rain is born in the clouds above. A slow story of droplets forming in silence, suspended in air, waiting for the perfect moment to fall. Maybe your day has been long, or your mind feels full and ready to settle. You're not alone in that feeling. The sky, too, has moments when it holds everything in, until it simply lets go. How's the sky looking where you are right now? Is it still and clear, or maybe already whispering of rain? Tonight's journey is for soft minds, sleepy hearts, and curious dreamers who find comfort in the rhythm of weather. If you enjoy these calming weather journeys, feel free to like or subscribe. It helps more sleepy travelers find their way here. But only if it feels light and easy. There's nothing you need to do now. Just nestle in. Let your thoughts quiet. Let your breath deepen. Let your body soften like a cloud. And let the hush of rainfall guide you toward rest. Let's begin. High above the surface of the earth, far beyond the reach of rooftops and trees, the air begins a journey. It starts softly, just a gentle rising. Warm air, carrying tiny parcels of invisible moisture, begins to lift. Not with a rush or a roar, but with the slow, buoyant grace of something lighter than its surroundings. This is where the story of a cloud begins. As the warm air rises, it enters cooler regions of the atmosphere. The higher it floats, the cooler it becomes. The molecules that once danced freely in the warmth begin to slow. They lose energy. They draw closer together, as if beginning to rest. In this softened state, something quiet and magical happens. The invisible becomes visible. Water vapor, once unseen and unfelt, begins to condense. Tiny particles suspended in the atmosphere, like dust or salt, offer themselves as resting places. Upon them, microscopic droplets form, one by one, softly, silently. This moment is the first breath of a cloud. It isn't a sudden transformation. There's no flash, no sound, just a gentle shift as countless droplets begin to cling together, forming a thin veil of moisture in the sky. At first, the cloud is barely noticeable, just a whisper of white against blue. But slowly, gracefully, it grows. Each rising puff of air adds new moisture, new droplets, new layers of softness. The atmosphere doesn't rush. It allows the cloud to form in its own time, in its own space. Nothing is hurried. Nothing is forced. It is the sky's most patient creation. Meteorologists call this process condensation. But here, we can think of it as the sky breathing in, holding a breath of moisture, and exhaling a cloud. The shape it takes depends on the conditions around it. If the air is calm, the cloud may form in a thin, flat sheet, like a soft cotton layer. If the air continues to rise steadily, the cloud might billow upward, developing soft curves and contours like a quiet thought drifting skyward. But at its heart, every cloud begins the same way. It begins with warmth, with invisible vapor, with a tender ascent. And when enough droplets gather, we begin to see the form of something new, a structure of softness floating above, made not of solid matter, but of light and water and air. It's comforting to know that every rainstorm, no matter how large or small, begins with this moment, not with noise or fury, but with a hush, a breath, a gathering. So tonight, we can imagine it happening above us now. Somewhere, high in the stillness, a patch of warm air is lifting, rising into the cool, slowing down, becoming something more. And soon, the sky will take its first quiet breath. and begin to cloud. Even on the clearest of days, when the sky seems empty and endlessly blue, there is something quietly present in the air. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it's there. Water vapor. It drifts invisibly through the atmosphere, threading between molecules of nitrogen and oxygen, wrapping softly around leaves, rooftops, and skin. This is the sky's hidden humidity, the gentle reservoir from which all clouds, all raindrops, and all storms begin. You might think that a cloudless sky means a dry one, but the truth is more subtle. Humidity doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't need to. It prefers to linger quietly, unnoticed. Tonight, we're going to rest beside this idea, the idea that moisture is always nearby, waiting. That even in the stillest, sunniest sky, the seeds of rain are already present, whispering their potential. When air is warm, it can hold more moisture. The molecules spread out, making space for water vapor to hide among them. And when conditions are right, that vapor collects, slowly, invisibly, patiently. This hidden humidity is measured with tools, yes, but it can also be felt in softer ways, in the way your skin feels on a summer evening, in the warmth of a breeze that carries the promise of rain, even if clouds are still far away. We often think of rain as something that appears suddenly, but in truth, it is being prepared long before the first droplet falls. The atmosphere is always quietly storing and moving water in its vapor form, sharing it across cities and forests, oceans and mountains. This unseen moisture plays a quiet role in shaping the weather to come. A humid day doesn't guarantee rain, but it does open the door. It creates an environment where clouds can more easily form, where condensation might begin, and where, given the right lift and cooling, raindrops might be born. Imagine a sponge, slowly soaking up water. That's what the atmosphere does on humid days. It gathers moisture into its invisible fibers until the moment comes, sometimes later, sometimes not at all, when the air releases it. And when it does, we call it rain. But tonight, we're not rushing to the rain itself. We're resting in the stage before, the quiet part, the invisible part, the part where the air simply holds its breath. Hidden humidity is not dramatic. It's not stormy or loud. It's a lullaby waiting to be sung, a calm fullness in the atmosphere. So, as you lie back and listen, picture the sky not as empty, but as quietly preparing. Every breeze, every gentle drift of air is carrying moisture in secret. Not to rush it, not to use it up, just to hold it, to carry it, to wait. And in that waiting, the stage is set for the softest kind of rain. In the quiet spaces above the earth, where the sky begins to stretch and the ground slips gently away, something ancient and effortless happens. Warm air begins to rise. It doesn't rush or race. It lifts softly, like a sigh released at the end of a long day. Not because it's heavy, but because it's light. Warm air, by nature, is less dense than the cooler air around it. So it floats upward, not in defiance of gravity, but in quiet harmony with the laws of nature. This movement is peaceful. It is the sky making space, the earth exhaling, and as the warm air rises, it begins to cool. You see, higher in the atmosphere, the pressure is lower, and when air moves into this lower pressure, it expands, like a balloon slowly filling, and as it expands, it loses heat. No cold wind causes this. It's a gentle, internal change, a quiet release of warmth into the open sky. With every meter it climbs, the temperature drops just a little. It's this gradual cooling that allows something remarkable to unfold. The invisible begins to transform. Within that rising, cooling air is water vapor. It's been carried upward, hidden and weightless. But as the air cools, the vapor can no longer remain in its gaseous form. It begins to slow down. It begins to come together, not suddenly, but softly. And here, the transformation begins. Droplets begin to form, not yet a cloud, not yet rain, but the earliest hints, tiny specks of moisture, gathering in silence. This process is one of balance, of temperature, altitude, and time. It's a kind of alchemy, but not the kind made of gold and fire. It's a softer magic, the magic of physics, happening patiently, invisibly, above our heads. As you imagine this now, let your thoughts drift upward too. Follow the warm air as it floats, expanding gently, cooling quietly. Let your mind picture the moisture hidden within it, preparing to show itself. There's no hurry, no sudden change, only a gradual invitation for something unseen to become something visible. This is the prelude to rain, the moment when the sky begins to hold the potential for droplets, for clouds, for the softest fall of water, and all of it begins with warm air rising into coolness. So tonight, as your body rests and your breath slows, you can imagine yourself rising too, not in motion, but in feeling. Let your thoughts lift gently, like air warmed by sunlight, climbing calmly into the quiet sky. And in that space above, something beautiful is beginning. Above the earth, in the softly cooling layers of the atmosphere, something delicate is happening. The air has risen, it has cooled, and now condensation begins. It doesn't happen all at once. There's no spark or sound, just a subtle shift. Molecules slowing down, drifting closer, deciding to come together. Water vapor, once invisible and free, now begins to cling. But it needs something to hold onto. Suspended in the air, there are tiny, almost weightless particles. Dust from distant deserts, salt from faraway seas, even microscopic fragments from forests and trees. These particles, though unseen from the ground, play a quiet and vital role. Each becomes an anchor. Around each particle, a droplet forms. Just one, at first, then another, and another. Billions of them, each one no more than a fraction of a millimeter across. Each one born from the gentle meeting of cooled vapor and a place to rest. This is the birth of a cloud, a gathering of droplets, too small to fall, too light to leave, suspended, together in a quiet dance above the world. The process is called condensation, but tonight we can think of it more gently, as a soft coming together, as moisture deciding to reveal itself, one droplet at a time. The droplets don't fall yet. They hover, held in place by the balance of air currents and their own tiny size. They shimmer in the light, though we rarely see them individually. Together, they become something visible. A soft grey veil, a pale puff, a silver sheet stretched across the sky. A cloud is not a solid thing. It is a community of moments. Each droplet is temporary. Each one changes shape and joins another. But together, they create something lasting. Something we can point to. Something we can rest our eyes upon. And though they look still, clouds are always moving, drifting, changing, living. Condensation is how they begin. Tonight, as you lie back and feel the weight of your body sink into the mattress, you might imagine being one of those droplets, weightless, suspended, coming into form in a quiet corner of the sky. No pressure, no destination, just the calm of forming. It's a peaceful thought that even something as ordinary as a cloud begins with such softness, with particles no larger than a whisper, with vapor no heavier than breath. And yet, From these beginnings, rain will come, but not now, not yet. For now, we simply float and allow the condensation to begin. Above us, clouds drift like soft thoughts in the sky. They take on gentle shapes, curl into wisps, or stretch wide across the horizon. And yet, many of them never release a single drop of rain. Not every cloud weeps. Some clouds are simply sky dwellers, content to float, to form, and to dissolve again without ever falling. Why is that? To understand this, we begin with the droplets themselves. Every cloud is made of countless tiny droplets or ice crystals, but most of these droplets are extraordinarily small, so light that they can remain suspended in the atmosphere for long periods of time. Gravity pulls on them, of course, but the rising air beneath them offers a gentle counterbalance, like a cradle that keeps them aloft. In many clouds, especially those that appear thin or wispy, the droplets are too small and too few to combine into raindrops. For rain to fall, droplets must collide and merge with others, growing larger and heavier until gravity wins. But in dry clouds, that process doesn't go very far. Maybe the air is too dry at lower levels, so evaporation begins before droplets can grow. Or maybe the cloud is simply not thick enough, too shallow in vertical depth, to allow the droplets to rise and fall and grow through repeated collisions. These clouds often appear soft and bright. Cumulus humilis, for example, are the small cotton ball clouds you see on pleasant afternoons. They hint at moisture, but they're not ready to rain. And that's okay. There is beauty in their restraint. Even clouds that seem full, thick, and heavy can sometimes remain dry. If the air beneath them is warm and dry, any falling droplets may evaporate before they ever touch the ground. This phenomenon is called virga, and from a distance, it looks like ghostly streaks falling from the cloud, fading away before they arrive. Tonight, as we rest beneath the idea of clouds, we can take comfort in this, that not everything in the sky must fulfill a dramatic purpose. Some clouds are simply present, moist but not falling, formed but not bursting. They are content to drift, to be, and that makes them no less meaningful. In fact, their stillness, their quiet suspension, reminds us that being is enough, that we too can exist without rushing, without doing, without pouring ourselves out. Some clouds rain, others do not. Both are part of the sky. So tonight, picture those gentle clouds above, resting, floating, breathing, carrying moisture, but holding it softly, not in sadness, not in tension, just in peace. Deep within the gentle rhythms of the atmosphere, there is a quiet threshold, a moment when invisible vapor becomes visible moisture. That threshold has a name. It's called the dew point. The dew point is the temperature at which air becomes saturated with water vapor. When the air cools to this point, it can no longer hold all the moisture it carries, and so it lets some go. Not in a rush, not all at once, but slowly, softly. This release is what forms dew on grass, fog in the early morning, or the very first droplets of a cloud. It's the moment when vapor begins to turn into liquid, and the story of rain begins its quiet telling. Imagine a summer evening just after sunset. The heat of the day begins to slip away. The air cools gently, degree by degree. And if it cools enough, if it reaches that precise balance, the dew point is met. Moisture appears. It might settle on a window pane, or wrap itself around a field in mist, or begin to rise into the sky, meeting particles, forming clouds. Meteorologists speak of the dew point with precision. It helps them predict when fog may form, when rain may fall, or when the air will feel sticky and humid. But beneath the science, there's something almost poetic about it. It is the moment of transition, the boundary between invisible and visible, between potential and form. Clouds cannot form without reaching the dew point. The air must cool to that threshold. Only then does condensation begin. Only then do droplets appear. Only then does the sky start to shape its quiet rain. And so, this simple temperature becomes a quiet gatekeeper. It is not loud. It does not change quickly. But it matters deeply to everything that follows. Tonight, you might think of the dew point not as a number, but as a feeling. The coolness that softens the end of a day. The dampness on your skin in a foggy dawn. The hush that comes before the rain begins. It is the atmosphere's way of preparing, of signaling that something gentle is ready to unfold. And just like that, without fanfare or noise, the dew point leads us toward the rain. Let's take a moment to shrink ourselves, not in body, but in imagination, to become small enough, soft enough, quiet enough, to drift gently inside a forming cloud. Here, within the hushed interior of the atmosphere's softest spaces, we find ourselves surrounded by a hidden world. A world made not of thunder or lightning, not of wind or weight, but of the tiniest droplets imaginable, microdroplets. They are the building blocks of mist, the beginning of every cloud, and the origin of every gentle rain. Each one is so small it would take hundreds to span the width of a single strand of hair. They float in suspension, held aloft not by magic, but by balance, between gravity pulling downward and the surrounding air offering a soft cushion of support. Mist is what we experience when these microdroplets gather close to the ground, filling the air with a gentle silver veil. It's what happens when a cloud dips low enough to touch the earth. Inside this mist, the world becomes softer. Edges blur, sounds quiet, distance shortens, and in the hush, something ancient stirs, a reminder that we are walking through water that has not yet fallen. These droplets are delicate, but they are powerful. Together, they reflect light, scatter visibility, and cool the air. They may seem passive, but they shape the world in ways that can be deeply felt. Microdroplets form when water vapor condenses around tiny particles in the air. Dust, salt, organic material from trees and fields all serve as invisible anchors. Around these, vapor clings and cools, forming droplets too small to fall, too gentle to feel. But when they gather in great numbers, they become mist, a gentle fog, a cloud from the inside. We rarely notice a single droplet, but we notice mist. We feel it. We breathe it in. In these moments, we are surrounded by the earliest echoes of rain. Tonight, as you listen, imagine yourself floating inside this space. Not standing in mist, but being within it, part of it, a soft adrift among countless droplets. No noise, no sharp lines, just a serene, suspended world where everything is gentle and everything is small. This is the secret heart of the cloud. Not thunderous, not stormy, but quiet, patient, filled with microdroplets, each one holding a whisper of the weather to come. Now, let's return to motion, not hurried or wild, but the slow, steady kind that lifts things upward with grace. Warm air, when it gathers near the surface, has a natural tendency to rise. And as it rises, it becomes part of something beautiful, an updraft. These updrafts are like invisible elevators in the atmosphere, gentle currents that carry moisture higher and higher into the sky. They help shape clouds, not in a single moment, but layer by layer, breath by breath. As air ascends, it cools, and as it cools, the moisture within it condenses. tiny droplets form. More air rises beneath them, and the cloud grows. What began as a thin veil begins to thicken. The base of the cloud stays low, but its top reaches upward, sometimes hundreds, even thousands of meters high. But it doesn't feel forceful. From the ground, it looks like a slow blooming, a sky unfurling. These rising columns of air help clouds grow tall, and as they grow, they become more than just suspended mist. They begin to gather weight, potential, energy, the very beginnings of rainfall. But that comes later. For now, we rest inside the motion, the soft lifting. Updrafts don't always create storms. Sometimes they simply allow clouds to breathe upward, to swell slightly, to rise into more complex shapes. The taller a cloud becomes, the more space there is for droplets to collide and grow. And the more droplets there are, the more likely some of them will become heavy enough to fall. This is a slow building process, a quiet orchestration of air, warmth, moisture, and motion. You might imagine it now, a patch of warm ground under the sun, the air just above it beginning to shimmer, and then silently beginning to rise. That rising air joins others, forming a stream, a lifting thread that carries droplets skyward. And high above, clouds grow from that simple gesture. All of it, this entire dance, happens without sound, without flashing light or drama, just warm air doing what it naturally does, rising, and in rising, it builds the sky. So tonight, let your thoughts drift upward. Picture the invisible elevators of the atmosphere, lifting, cooling, condensing, creating clouds, preparing the sky for the softest kind of rain, not yet falling, only forming, in peace. Let us return, once again, to the slow rise of air. There's something gentle about it, this upward drift. It begins low, near the surface, where sunlight warms the earth and the air nearest to it. As that air warms, it grows lighter, and as it becomes lighter, it rises, quietly, effortlessly. But something subtle happens during that ascent. As the air climbs, it finds itself in a space where the pressure is lower. The higher it goes, the less the atmosphere presses down upon it. And in response, the air begins to expand, not like a balloon with a sudden burst of air, but like a sigh, a slow stretching, a soft unfolding. This expansion is not dramatic. It's not loud or visible, but it's important, because when air expands, it cools. This is a fundamental truth of our atmosphere. Expansion leads to cooling. The warmth, once held close in the air's embrace, is gently released as the air stretches out. It spreads, it lets go, and in this quiet cooling, something beautiful is allowed to happen. Condensation continues. As the temperature falls, the water vapor that was once hidden in the air begins to reveal itself. Droplets form, mist gathers, clouds deepen. This process doesn't need a storm to begin. It doesn't need wind or pressure systems or noise. It only needs time. Time and lift. Time and space. As each parcel of air rises and expands, it leaves a trail of droplets behind, a soft exhale into the sky. The cloud that forms from this process isn't dense or heavy at first. It's delicate, wispy perhaps, or gently puffed, like a cotton bloom. But as the air continues to rise and expand and cool, the cloud thickens. It gains texture, shape, softness. It's as though the sky is sculpting with breath. This vertical journey is what gives clouds their height. It's what allows them to become layered, to grow upward, to stretch across the sky with grace. And all of it begins with this humble act. Air, rising, expanding, cooling. It's peaceful to imagine, isn't it? a quiet rhythm playing out above us, shaping the clouds we see. So tonight, let your thoughts ride on one of those gentle currents. Let them rise into cooler air, expand into spaciousness, and cool with calm intention. Let condensation follow like a quiet footstep. You don't need to do anything but drift and imagine. Let the soft expansion carry you toward rest. We often imagine clouds growing heavy before they rain, as though water builds up until it spills. But before that moment comes, something else happens. Clouds don't just become heavier, they grow taller, much taller. This is one of the most peaceful transformations in the sky, because it happens slowly, layer by layer, in quiet, vertical motion. At first, a cloud may appear small, just a soft puff resting above the earth, like a gentle cotton tuft. But beneath it, warm air continues to rise, and with each rising column, more moisture is lifted upward. More condensation occurs, and the cloud begins to grow, not outward, but upward. It stacks, like pillows laid one atop the other. Each new layer adds height, each adds softness, and with every additional lift of air, the structure becomes more defined, more textured, more intricate. Cumulus clouds, those fluffy, friendly shapes we see on sunny afternoons, are the starting point. But under the right conditions, with enough upward lift and enough moisture, they begin to stretch, higher and higher, until they begin to tower. This vertical development is how cumulus becomes cumulonimbus. But it doesn't happen in a rush. The process is slow, like a tree growing towards sunlight, like a mountain being shaped by wind and time. The cloud breathes upward. Inside these growing towers, air continues to rise. Droplets continue to collide and combine. The cloud becomes a gentle engine of motion and change. And even before a single drop of rain falls, the atmosphere is quietly preparing. From the ground, this transformation is visible, but only if you watch for a while. The change isn't sudden. It's like watching a tide rise, or a shadow shift. This upward growth also deepens the cloud's ability to produce rain later on. The taller it becomes, the more time droplets have to grow as they fall within it. The longer the journey, the more collisions they experience. But that comes later. For now, we focus only on the rise, the reaching, the stacking, the slow build of softness in the sky. Imagine it now, clouds lifting layer by layer, like a breath held in gentle motion. No rush, no urgency, just the peaceful shaping of the sky. Tonight, you don't need to grow taller, but you can imagine what it feels like to rise with purpose, to soften upward, to form something beautiful through calm, quiet expansion. And maybe, just maybe, to carry the beginnings of rain tucked gently within your form. Inside the soft hush of a cloud, something tender is always unfolding. Countless droplets, suspended together, move gently through the air. They are small, so small in fact, that each one could take hundreds of them to cover the tip of a single pin. These droplets don't fall yet. They linger, they drift, they wait, and while they wait, they bump into one another, not with force, not with speed, but with a softness that matches the rhythm of the sky. This process is called coalescence. It's the quiet gathering of droplets, a slow coming together that turns tiny spheres of water into larger ones. As air currents stir the inside of the cloud, droplets begin to collide. Some simply brush past each other, others gently merge. When two droplets meet and combine, they form one slightly larger droplet. And with every gentle union, that new droplet becomes a little heavier, a little rounder, a little more prepared to fall. But it's not a race. Most droplets drift for a long time before they grow large enough to change. Many evaporate before they ever reach that size. But some continue the journey, bumping, brushing, and merging with others. It's a peaceful kind of growth. Imagine a ballroom filled with dancers, everyone drifting quietly, slowly, swaying to invisible music. Now and then, two dancers meet and join hands. They become one pair, then another joins, then another, until, slowly, a larger circle begins to form, a soft spiral of motion, growing with every step. That is coalescence. It's the gentle choreography of droplets in motion. Some clouds are rich with moisture, creating a space where coalescence happens easily. Others are more sparse, where droplets float apart, never quite finding each other. But when conditions are just right, where the cloud is dense enough and the air remains still enough, the process continues, unnoticed and unstoppable. And soon, larger droplets begin to form. These are not yet raindrops, but they are almost there. They are the in-between, bigger than mist, smaller than rain, the middle shape between invisible vapor and visible fall. Coalescence is the quiet bridge. Tonight, as your thoughts begin to settle and your breath slows, you might imagine yourself as one of these droplets, drifting peacefully through a cloud, coming together with others, merging softly, gently growing. No pressure, just presence. And as you float in that space between air and rain, between particle and droplet, remember that even the most delicate changes can lead to something beautiful. Rain begins not with a storm, but with a soft union in the sky. Raindrops are born in silence. They are not summoned suddenly. They do not appear with sound or surprise. They begin as a whisper, barely there, just a tiny sphere of moisture suspended in the quiet body of a cloud. It all starts with the tiniest speck. High above, invisible to the eye, a particle, dust, pollen, or even a grain of salt, becomes a resting place for water vapor. Around this particle, a single droplet forms, then another, and another. These droplets drift gently through the cloud, held aloft by the delicate balance of air and gravity. They don't yet fall. They linger in the misty stillness, moving softly with the air around them. But over time, as we've seen, they begin to find each other. Through coalescence, they collide and merge, growing drop by drop. A droplet that was once too small to fall begins to gain mass. It becomes rounder, heavier. The birth of a raindrop isn't a single moment. It's a quiet accumulation, a series of tiny changes that slowly build into something more. Eventually, there comes a turning point, a moment when gravity begins to matter. The droplet, now large enough, begins to feel a tug, not a sharp pull, but a gentle invitation. The earth calls softly to the growing drop, and slowly, it begins to fall. This is when a droplet becomes a raindrop. It doesn't plummet, it drifts downward, passing through layers of air, cooling further, collecting more moisture along the way. As it descends, it may collide with smaller droplets, growing even larger. Some drops evaporate before they ever reach the ground. Others make the full journey. And when they do, we see the result. We hear the soft patter on rooftops, the hush of rain on leaves, the gentle ripple in a puddle. But before that sound, before that touch, there is only the sky, and within it, the birth of something quiet and beautiful. A raindrop is never alone. It carries with it the memory of every droplet it touched, every speck it clung to, every breeze that helped it rise. It is a collection of moments, a sky-born story told in water. And tonight, as you lie beneath your own sky, whether clear or cloudy, you can imagine those quiet births happening far above. Right now, inside the soft bellies of clouds, droplets are forming, merging, becoming. Each one begins small. Each one carries the promise of rain. And whether they fall tonight or drift quietly in place, their story is already unfolding. A soft beginning, a peaceful descent, the sky's most delicate gift preparing to fall. Not all clouds are warm. High above the surface, where the air thins and temperatures slip well below freezing, clouds begin to take on another form of beauty. Here, where breath would turn to frost and the atmosphere grows still, moisture takes on a crystalline shape. Tiny, glistening ice crystals form, so delicate they float like whispers in the sky. These frozen fragments are born in the same way as droplets, around tiny particles suspended in the air. But instead of water clinging and staying liquid, it freezes. It hardens into intricate shapes, like the earliest sketches of a snowflake. Their presence is silent. There's no crackle or shimmer to announce them, just a soft shift in the cloud's composition. These ice crystals are not simply passengers in the atmosphere. They play a secret, powerful role in forming precipitation. When they appear in a cloud filled with supercooled water, liquid droplets suspended below freezing, they become collectors. Their icy surfaces attract nearby droplets, which freeze on contact. With every addition, the crystal grows, sometimes into a snowflake, sometimes into a rounded lump of ice. And in some clouds, these growing crystals eventually become heavy enough to fall. But falling from such great heights, they begin a quiet transformation. As they pass through warmer layers of air, many begin to melt. Their sharp angles soften, their icy shapes dissolve, and what lands on the ground is not snow, but rain. Yes, some of the raindrops we feel on our skin began as frozen crystals in the highest reaches of the atmosphere. They are shaped not just by the clouds they form in, but by the layers of air they fall through on their way down. It's a journey of phases, a story told in water, first frozen, then fluid. Tonight, you might imagine those high, cold clouds above, floating quietly, barely moving, their temperatures frigid, their particles slow, and within them, ice crystals drift, glinting softly, forming in stillness, each one a silent architect, shaping the future of rainfall. Their contribution is quiet, but it matters. So often in nature, the smallest players have the largest effect. These crystals, too tiny to see from the ground, help build the structure of the rain we know. They begin a chain of gathering, merging, and falling that eventually reaches the earth in soft patters and gentle drops. And so we rest beneath their invisible touch. High in the coldest corners of the sky, the journey of rain continues, in ice, in stillness, and in grace. In the upper levels of cold clouds, there is something unexpected. Liquid water, not frozen, not solid, but still, somehow, liquid. Even at temperatures well below freezing, tiny water droplets can remain in liquid form. This phenomenon is known as supercooling, when water stays liquid, even though it's cold enough to freeze. It seems impossible, but it's not. In the absence of a solid surface to freeze upon, these droplets linger in their fluid state, suspended, chilled, waiting. Supercooled droplets are delicate. They are balanced on the edge of a phase change, ready to freeze, but not yet doing so. And their role in creating rain and snow is quietly essential. When a supercooled droplet touches an ice crystal, it freezes instantly. That ice crystal grows, layer by layer, fed by the liquid that surrounds it. This is how snowflakes form. Each supercooled droplet adds to the crystalline structure, shaping unique arms and branches with exquisite care. But if the cloud's journey continues downward, passing through warmer air, the snowflake may begin to melt. Its icy edges soften, its crystal arms round off, and soon what began as a snowflake becomes a raindrop. In this way, supercooled water contributes to both snow and rain. The atmosphere decides, quietly, gently, based on temperature, on height, on time. The term snow seeds is often used to describe the particles around which snowflakes form. These seeds are usually ice crystals or frozen nuclei, tiny structures that provide a foundation for freezing to begin. Without them, the supercooled water might remain suspended, waiting. So tonight, we drift into this world of waiting, a place where water hovers at the edge of freezing, where droplets cling to possibility, where ice and liquid exist side by side in silent tension. Supercooled clouds are some of the most dynamic and mysterious places in the sky. They're filled with contrast, liquid beside solid, motion beside stillness. And yet, there is no conflict here, only cooperation. The water gives, the ice receives, and together they build the beauty of falling snow, or the gentleness of rain. It all depends on what lies below. Tonight, as you rest, imagine these delicate droplets in midair, cool to the point of freezing, but not quite there, waiting for a nudge, a crystal, a seed, and when that moment comes, they transform, quietly, fully, from stillness to snow, from snow to rain. There is a gentle process unfolding high within many of our coldest clouds. It's quiet, almost invisible, yet deeply important. A soft transfer, a delicate exchange. Scientists call it the Bergeron process, and tonight we'll drift slowly into its subtle wonder. Imagine a cloud high above the earth, where the air is well below freezing. Within it, tiny ice crystals drift, suspended like little prisms in a sea of vapor. Around them, tiny water droplets float, still liquid, even in the cold. These droplets are supercooled, as we explored earlier. Liquid, yet chilled past the point of freezing. They hover beside the crystals in a shared space, cold and patient. Now here's where the Bergeron process quietly begins. Ice crystals have a stronger pull on water vapor than liquid droplets do. It's a property of how water behaves in different phases. So, when both exist in the same cloud, the vapor begins to leave the supercooled droplets, and instead travels to the ice. Little by little, vapor from nearby droplets shifts course. It abandons the droplets and attaches to the crystals. Not all at once, not in a rush, but molecule by molecule, and the ice crystals grow. It's almost like a quiet gathering, a subtle redirection. The ice crystal becomes a focal point, drawing moisture toward itself, allowing it to expand into more complex shapes, sometimes into snowflakes, sometimes into icy masses that may later melt into rain. Meanwhile, the droplets that lose their vapor begin to shrink. Some evaporate entirely, others linger, faded. It's a process of sacrifice and transformation, a slow migration of moisture from liquid to solid. The resulted that the ice crystals grow much faster than they could on their own. They gain mass quickly, and when they reach a certain size, gravity begins to take notice. The Bergeron process is most active in clouds, where temperatures hover between 10 and 20 degrees Celsius. It's one of the reasons why precipitation can form so efficiently in cold clouds. Even when the cloud appears calm, This hidden transfer is unfolding, a quiet shifting of vapor that shapes the beginning of every snowflake, and, eventually, every drop of rain. Tonight, we can think of this process like a soft secret of the sky, something unseen, something delicate, a dance between vapor and ice, between loss and gain, between what was and what's becoming. So, as you settle deeper into sleep, you might picture those high clouds, cold, still, and filled with both droplets and crystals. And imagine the quiet draw of vapor moving between them, gathering, shaping, building. That's the Bergeron process, and it's one of the most peaceful, patient beginnings of rain. Even the sky lets go eventually. High within the drifting softness of a cloud, droplets move slowly, growing and merging. Some remain suspended, small and weightless. Others grow larger, rounder, no longer content to float forever. And when a droplet becomes heavy enough, it begins to fall. Not suddenly, not sharply, but slowly, gently. This is gravity's quiet touch. From the moment a droplet forms, gravity is already reaching for it. At first, the pull is far too faint to overcome the rising air and turbulence within the cloud. The droplet stays aloft, riding the soft currents that keep it drifting. But as it gathers more mass, through coalescence, through freezing, through gentle collisions, it begins to feel the Earth's pull more deeply. A subtle invitation, growing stronger. Eventually, the cloud can no longer hold on, and the droplet begins its descent. It doesn't plummet, it glides. It falls through layers of air, each one shaping its journey. It may gather more moisture as it falls. It may shrink slightly through evaporation. It may cool further or warm. Each moment of descent is shaped by the invisible structure of the atmosphere. This is the beginning of rain. But even now, the droplet is still quiet, still soft. It's not the start of a storm, it's the release of a gift, a letting go. When thousands, then millions of these droplets begin to fall together, we experience what we call a rain shower. But at its heart, it begins with just one droplet, and gravity's gentle tug. There's something comforting about this idea, that even the clouds must release what they carry. That there comes a point when holding on is no longer needed, when letting go becomes natural. And so the sky loosens its hold, and the first drop begins to fall. As it descends, it does not rush. It accepts gravity's invitation. It trusts the air to guide it, to shape its path, to deliver it home. Tonight, you might imagine that falling droplet, silent, smooth, round. Falling not from sadness, but from readiness. Falling not with force, but with grace. And maybe, in your own quiet way, you feel a little like that too. Held gently, released slowly, carried downward into rest, by gravity, by grace, by calm. When we think of raindrops, we often imagine them shaped like teardrops, pointed at the top, rounded at the bottom. It's a familiar image, often seen in drawings or animated skies. But real raindrops are shaped quite differently, and tonight we'll float gently beside one, tracing its path and form as it falls through the open air. Let's begin at the top of the cloud, where our droplet has just gathered enough mass to begin descending. It starts its journey, round, nearly spherical, not perfectly, but close. It's a softly curved bead of water, falling through stillness. As the drop begins to move downward, air pushes against it, not harshly, but steadily. The faster the drop falls, the more the air pushes back, like a gentle but persistent hand meeting its surface. This air resistance causes the bottom of the droplet to flatten slightly, while the top remains rounded. Over time, the drop takes on a shape more like a tiny hamburger bun, rounded on top, flat underneath. Not pointed, not sharp, just gently shaped by motion. Larger drops feel this effect more strongly. The bigger they are, the more the air pushes against them, stretching and flattening them even more. If a drop grows too large, typically larger than about 4 millimeters across, it may become unstable. Its bottom may begin to curve inward. Its shape becomes more like a parachute, wobbly and irregular, and eventually it may break apart. But that's a moment we'll explore in the next chapter. For now, we return to the steady fall. The drop, as it moves through the atmosphere, spins slightly. It may wobble a little. It may sway side to side. But it remains cohesive, whole, carried gently downward by gravity and sculpted quietly by the wind. And all the while, its shape remains soft and simple. There's something calming about knowing that even falling raindrops are never harsh, that the atmosphere reshapes them with care, not violence, that the air cushions and molds them, never letting them become sharp or pointed. This is the nature of rain. Even as it moves, it remains peaceful. So tonight, imagine yourself riding beside one of these falling droplets, not rushing, just floating downward, the world passing slowly around you. The drop is rounded at the top, flattened below, catching the wind in silence. It falls through layers of cool, damp air, through softness, through space. And though it may land far below, its journey is no less beautiful. A small, rounded moment in the sky, a softened shape, falling in peace. A raindrop's journey doesn't end when it leaves the cloud. In fact, that's when its most delicate passage begins. As it falls, the drop passes through layers of air, some cool, some warm, some still, some turbulent. Each layer offers something different, and within these layers, other droplets are falling too. The sky is not empty. It is filled with motion, other drops, gusts of wind, pockets of pressure and temperature that shape and influence each falling particle. Sometimes, two raindrops meet. They might merge, coalescing into one larger drop, as we've seen before. But other times, the collision causes them to break apart. This is especially common with larger droplets. As they fall faster, the pressure beneath them increases. Wind pushes against their undersides, flattening them even more. And if the air becomes too turbulent, or if they collide with smaller drops moving at different speeds, they can begin to shatter. The drop may split into 2 or 3 smaller ones. These, in turn, may continue falling or evaporate before they reach the ground. Some will combine again with others, beginning the cycle anew. It's not chaos, it's choreography, a gentle, airborne ballet. Each drop responds to the air around it, not with resistance, but with surrender. It bends, it moves, it reshapes, it flows. And even when it breaks apart, it does so without drama, without noise, just a quiet restructuring. Even wind, often thought of as harsh, can be soft at these scales. It buffers, it moves things around, it plays a role in shaping the final form of every drop that touches the earth. Some raindrops never make it. They evaporate on the way down, especially if the air below is dry. Others are caught in an updraft and lifted back into the cloud to grow once more before falling again. The journey downward is not a straight line. It's a path filled with decisions, with changes, with soft collisions. And so, when we feel a drop land on our hand, it's not just water, it's a traveler, one that has passed through air and motion, shaping and reshaping, a piece of sky that has tumbled, drifted, gathered, and perhaps even been reborn mid-fall. Tonight, imagine that journey. Let yourself fall softly, like a droplet through layered air. Let the winds of thought move gently around you. Let collisions be moments of change, not endings. Let breakup become transformation, not loss. In the atmosphere, nothing is wasted. Everything moves. Everything becomes, even a raindrop. We often think of rain as something that falls straight down, gentle drops descending in stillness. But rarely is the sky ever truly still. Up there, in the quiet layers of the atmosphere, wind moves with subtlety and grace. It doesn't always announce itself with rustling leaves or chimes on porches. Sometimes it is soft and high and hidden, yet always present. And tonight, we'll drift into the role that wind plays in shaping the journey of rain. Wind, though invisible, has influence. As a droplet begins its fall from a cloud, the air beneath it begins to respond. The atmosphere might be calm, or it might carry gentle currents of motion. These moving layers of air shape the path of every raindrop. They influence its speed, its size, even its final destination. A light wind may tilt the path of falling rain, making it slant gently as it falls. On breezy days, you might notice rain dancing sideways across windows, or tilting like silver threads through the air. But more than changing direction, wind can change formation. In rising air, what meteorologists call updrafts, drops may be lifted back into the cloud. There, they can gather more moisture, grow larger, or freeze into icy forms before falling again. These wind-driven cycles help explain why some clouds grow into towering shapes and why some raindrops fall larger than others. Wind also scatters small droplets, especially in the early stages of drizzle. A gentle gust can disperse them, spacing them farther apart, making rain feel like a whisper instead of a shower. Other times, a soft downdraft will guide drops straight to the ground, giving rain a sense of steady rhythm. Even evaporation is shaped by the wind. Dry air moving through a falling rain column can carry moisture away before it ever reaches the earth. Some of the drops we see never land at all. They dissolve mid-air, turned once again into vapor by the breath of passing wind. And still, none of this feels chaotic. It's orchestral. Every movement is part of the atmosphere's soft symphony. The wind doesn't command. It collaborates. It joins the story of rain as a sculptor, not carving with force, but brushing gently, shaping paths with invisible hands. Tonight, you might imagine those hands around you, not pushing, not rushing, just guiding, like a breeze across your skin or the quiet sway of a curtain in a nighttime window. Let the wind carry your thoughts as it carries the rain. Not in haste, but in harmony. All rain is not the same. Sometimes it arrives as a whisper, fine, misty droplets falling so lightly they barely make a sound. Other times, it comes as a presence, steady, soaking, filling the world with a calming hush. And then, there are moments when it pours, quickly, fully, with wide, heavy drops splashing into puddles and running down rooftops. These forms of rain, though different in feel, all begin the same way, within the quiet breath of a cloud. But tonight, we gently compare two ends of this rain spectrum, the tender drift of drizzle and the fullness of a downpour. Drizzle is made of very small droplets, often less than 0.5 millimeter across. These drops are so light that they almost seem to float, drifting more than falling. They rarely splatter or bounce. Instead, they cling softly to surfaces, misting windows, collecting quietly on skin and leaves. Drizzle forms in low, shallow clouds, usually stratus clouds, that hug close to the Earth. The air within these clouds is calm. There's little turbulence, no strong updrafts, just quiet saturation. In these still conditions, droplets don't grow large. They simply remain small and numerous, falling together like a breath of moisture. Downpour, by contrast, begins higher. It forms in deeper, more developed clouds, often cumulonimbus or nimbostratus, where warm air rises strongly and moisture is abundant. Within these towering clouds, droplets grow larger through coalescence and cooling. They travel farther through the cloud before falling, gathering size and weight along the way. When these droplets fall, they do so with more momentum. They land with presence, with rhythm, with sound, but neither drizzle nor downpour is harsh. Even in a heavy rain, there is no anger in the water, only volume. The difference is not in emotion, but in motion. Drizzle is soft background. Downpour is immersive atmosphere. And both have their place in the lullaby of weather. Some evenings, you might walk beneath drizzle, barely feeling it. Other nights, you may fall asleep to the soothing cadence of a downpour tapping against the roof. Both are rain, both are sky, both are water returning home. So tonight, whether your thoughts fall like mist or gather like storms, may they find their way downward, calmly, fully, gently, drizzle or downpour. Your rest is welcome either way. There is something deeply familiar about the scent of rain. It arrives before the first drop touches the ground, a soft, earthy fragrance, a kind of quiet signal. The air seems to change, the wind feels fuller, and then that unmistakable smell, as if the world has exhaled. This scent has a name, petrichor. It's a word born from two roots, petra, meaning stone, and ichor, the fluid said to flow through the veins of ancient gods. Together, they describe the divine breath of the earth released when rain begins to fall. But where does this scent truly come from? It begins with the ground, dry soil, leaves, stones, and roots, all of which carry natural oils secreted by plants or built up over dry days. During stretches of dryness, these oils settle quietly into the top layers of the earth. They wait, dormant, until the rain arrives. When the first raindrops fall, they don't just wet the surface, they awaken it. The droplets strike the ground and trap small pockets of air. These pockets are then released in tiny bursts, like miniature fizzing bubbles, sending aerosols into the air above. Within those aerosols are the very compounds responsible for that nostalgic scent. Geosmin is one of the key ingredients, a compound created by soil-dwelling bacteria. It's harmless, and we are remarkably sensitive to it. Even in tiny amounts, geosmin creates that earthy, comforting smell so many of us associate with rain's return. What's fascinating is that this scent is strongest when rain first begins after a dry spell. The longer the dry period, the more pronounced this petrichor, as if the earth has been waiting too, storing its breath, saving it for this reunion. In cities, the scent can be more subtle. Rain hitting concrete and asphalt doesn't release quite the same richness. But in a forest or on a quiet garden path, the fragrance is unmistakable. And it's not just the ground that contributes. As rain falls through the air, especially after a thunderstorm, another compound joins the mix: ozone. Lightning can split oxygen molecules, creating reactions that produce ozone, which has a slightly sharp, clean smell, almost metallic, but fresh. Together, petrichor and ozone blend into the perfume of rainfall, a scent of beginning, of returning. of something gentle arriving from the sky. So tonight, as you listen to the soft telling of weather's quiet rhythms, imagine that smell. Let it settle around you. The scent of stone kissed by water, the breath of roots and moss rising from the soil, the quiet signature of the sky meeting the earth. Rain has a sound, a feeling, and a fragrance. And when it returns, it brings more than water. It brings memory. It brings peace. Breathe in. Let go. Let the rain arrive. All raindrops may look the same as they fall, but not all rain is made the same way. Some falls from warm clouds, others from cold. Some begin as liquid, some as ice. Their paths are different, their stories distinct. Tonight, we float between them, drifting from warmth to cold and back again. Warm rain forms in tropical and subtropical regions, or in summer storms closer to home. It begins in clouds where the entire column, from base to top, is above freezing. In these clouds, droplets remain liquid throughout their entire journey. As warm air rises, condensation begins. Tiny droplets form around microscopic particles, and through coalescence, they begin to grow. These warm clouds are often deep and rich with moisture. The droplets have time to collide, to merge, to become full-bodied raindrops. When they fall as they formed, liquid from the very beginning. Warm rain is often gentle, steady, the kind you might walk through barefoot in the early evening when the air still feels like summer. Cold rain, by contrast, begins in the higher, colder regions of the sky. Here, temperatures within the cloud may dip far below freezing. Ice crystals form. Supercooled droplets gather and freeze on contact, and snowflakes begin to grow. But as these icy forms fall through warmer layers of air near the surface, they melt. And what reaches the ground is rain. Liquid, yes, but born from ice. Cold rain often carries with it a different kind of chill, a stillness, a hush. It reminds us that rain is not always born in warmth. Sometimes it is shaped by frost and thaw, a soft cycle of freezing, falling, and melting again. So what's the difference? Warm rain is pure coalescence, formed in heat, grown in collisions. Cold rain is a layered story, ice above, melt below. One is a quiet gathering, the other a gentle transformation, and both are beautiful. You've likely felt them before, even if you didn't know it. Warm rain might land softly on your skin, feeling like part of the air itself. Cold rain may carry a sharper touch, a reminder of the sky's icy origins. But both carry the same gift: water returning to earth, falling from clouds, formed by wind and lift and vapor. Whether born from warmth or chill, every drop belongs. So tonight, float gently between them. Warm rain on one side, cold on the other. No need to choose. Both are rain. Both are peace. We often think of rain as something that falls to the earth, watering soil, feeding rivers, pooling softly on leaves and rooftops. But rain also does something in the air, long before it ever reaches the ground. It cleans. Each falling droplet is more than just water. It's a vessel, a collector, a quiet purifier. As rain begins its descent from the clouds above, it passes through layers of atmosphere filled with particles. Dust stirred by wind, pollen drifting from trees, traces of smoke, salt, even microscopic pollutants invisible to the eye. And the raindrop, round and smooth, has a surface just sticky enough to capture them. This process is known as scavenging, a gentle term for the way rain removes particles from the air. As the droplet falls, it absorbs or traps these floating bits, drawing them downward. The result is that after a rain shower, The air often feels fresher, cooler, easier to breathe. You've probably felt this before, that sense of clean stillness following rainfall. The way a landscape seems sharper, colours more vivid, the breeze somehow clearer. That's not just imagination, it's the sky, softly rinsed. Raindrops, in this way, are quiet caretakers. They pass through the air without judgment, collecting what does not belong, what is ready to fall. And in doing so, they offer a kind of renewal, not just for the ground, but for the atmosphere itself. In cities, where pollution may linger on dry days, a rainstorm can clear the haze, sweeping away suspended particles. The difference may be visible, a once murky skyline becoming suddenly crisp. Or it may be felt, a deep breath taken at a window, the air carrying no weight. In forests and fields, rain calms the pollen. It settles the dust. It smooths the space between branches and blades or grass. Birds and animals may pause, not out of fear, but in reverence, because the air has changed, and it all begins with a single drop. Imagine now a droplet falling slowly through this layered world. With every inch it gathers. It becomes a vessel, not just of water, but of memory, carrying with it the breath of the sky, the whispers of leaves, the stories of smoke and breeze. And when it lands, it brings not just rain, but release. The air in its wake becomes a gentler place. So tonight, as your own breath slows, imagine the rain clearing not only the sky, but the space around you. Let it sweep softly through your thoughts, collecting the dust of the day, the pollen of memory, the haze of worry. Let it all fall away and rest in the freshness left behind. Sometimes it rains, but only halfway. High above, a cloud begins the quiet process. Vapor condenses, droplets form. The first signs of rain begin to gather. Everything seems ready. And then, something unusual happens. The droplets fall, but they never reach the ground. This beautiful phenomenon is known as virga, a word as soft as the effect it describes. Rain that forms in the sky begins to fall, but evaporates mid-air. It's like a secret shared between cloud and atmosphere. From the ground, virga appears as delicate streaks or wisps beneath a cloud, thin, vertical veils trailing downward like silken threads. They shimmer faintly, especially when backlit by sunset or twilight. And then, before touching earth, they vanish. Why does this happen? As the raindrop falls, it passes through layers of dry air. And if that air is warm or arid enough, it gently lifts the moisture away. The drop begins to shrink. Its edges soften. Molecule by molecule, it dissolves back into invisible vapor. No splash, no sound, just disappearance. And yet, the journey still mattered. Even though virga never touches the soil, it still cools the air as it evaporates. It still brings motion to the atmosphere. It still stirs the sky. Pilots sometimes see virga from above, curtains of soft grey trailing beneath clouds, never quite arriving. Hikers may look up from dry trails and witness the sky attempting to rain, the gesture half complete, beautifully unfinished. There's a quiet grace in this kind of rain, a softness in its failure to arrive. It reminds us that not all gifts must be delivered to be meaningful, that the sky, even when it doesn't pour, is still trying to connect. And so, virga becomes something poetic, a message in vapor, a promise not kept, but still given. Tonight, you might imagine standing beneath such a sky, not wet, not cold, just quiet, looking up to see the rain fall and fade, feeling the hush of the air, the stillness of a cloud that tried, and knowing that even invisible rain has a role to play, a moment of grace, a veil between earth and sky, a rainfall that disappears, but never feels lost. Not all rain begins as rain. Sometimes, what we feel as soft droplets on our skin started far above us as something else entirely, an ice crystal, delicate and unique, born in the coldest corners of a cloud. Tonight, we trace that quiet transformation from crystal to drop, from snowflake to rain. High in the atmosphere, where temperatures linger well below freezing, the earliest signs of precipitation often begin as snow. Moisture condenses not into droplets, but into tiny ice crystals, each one forming around a speck of dust or a particle of pollen. These crystals grow in silence, collecting more vapor that freezes onto their surface, branching into intricate patterns. Some become snowflakes. Others remain small, simple, no larger than a pinprick. They drift together through the cold upper layers of a cloud, light as air, untouched by warmth. But as they fall, they begin a journey through changing temperatures. The lower atmosphere is often warmer, especially during the milder seasons or in regions near the equator. And as the snowflakes fall into this gentler air, they begin to melt. At first, the tips soften, then the edges round off. Slowly, the crystal loses its sharpness. Its arms curl inward. The structure begins to fade. And what remains is a raindrop. It is not an instant shift. It's a quiet transformation, a soft surrender. And by the time that raindrop reaches the earth, it carries with it the memory of snow. You may not see it. You may never know. But in that one droplet's descent is a silent story of frozen stillness and warming air, of change, shaped gently by temperature and time. Meteorologists call this melting layer precipitation. It's especially common in early spring, or on days when the clouds above are cold but the surface is warm. You might notice it when rain feels cooler than expected, or when a soft shower carries the hush of something wintry, even if the air is mild. It reminds us that not all rain begins the same way. Some is born as liquid, forming directly in warm clouds, but other rain begins as snow. It floats first as a crystal. It dances, light and intricate, before becoming a drop. So tonight, as you listen to the rhythm of rain or imagine it in the stillness above, think of those droplets that once had corners, that once fell as flakes, that melted on the way down. Each drop, a quiet transformation. Each fall, a soft return to the earth, from crystal to water to rest. Every raindrop carries its own quiet shape. Some fall like silver marbles, round, full, gently splashing as they land. Others drift like whispers, barely their beads of mist, vanishing before they even reach your sleeve. And tonight, we explore the peaceful variety of raindrops and how each one becomes the size it was always meant to be. No two raindrops are quite the same. Their size depends on many soft factors: the structure of the cloud, the temperature of the air, the strength of the updrafts, and even how long they've had to fall. Inside the cloud, droplets begin as tiny specks, barely visible, formed from condensed vapor. These microdroplets must gather others to grow. Through coalescence, where droplets gently merge as they collide, they slowly become larger. But not all have the same opportunity. In some clouds, the air is turbulent, and droplets rise and fall many times before escaping. This helps them grow bigger. In others, the cloud is calm and shallow. Droplets don't spend as much time in motion, and they fall before growing large. Humidity too plays a part. In moist air, droplets grow more quickly. In drier air, they may shrink as they fall, evaporating along the way. The result is a gentle spectrum. Drizzle is made up of tiny, drops, each one smaller than 0.5 millimeter across. They fall slowly, floating almost more than falling, often blown sideways by the breeze. Moderate rain carries droplets of more familiar size, round and soft, just enough to gently soak the ground without overwhelming it. Heavy rain or a downpour brings larger drops, some as wide as 5 or even 6 millimeters. These fall more quickly, striking with a soft patter or a steady thrum. But even in a single rain shower, there's variety. You might feel fine mist one moment, and then a single fat drop the next. That variety comes from the dynamic nature of clouds, each pocket of air holding a different story, each section releasing drops shaped by its own journey. Larger drops often flatten slightly as they fall, while smaller ones remain nearly spherical. The smallest may evaporate before reaching the ground. The largest, if they grow too big, may break apart mid-air, scattering into a cluster of smaller droplets. And through it all, gravity carries them downward, not in a race, but in a rhythm. So tonight, as you imagine a gentle rain, think of each droplet as its own world, one born from vapor, shaped by time, softened by air, a misty speck, or a round drop with weight. Each one is valid, each one belongs. And just as no two thoughts, no two breaths, no two dreams are quite the same, no two raindrops are either. Let them fall, quietly and varied, across the landscape of your rest. Rain doesn't always arrive with thunder. It doesn't always streak the sky with lightning or roar across rooftops in a sudden sweep. Sometimes, rain arrives in silence, a gentle descent, a slow soaking, a whisper between clouds and earth. Tonight, we'll rest between two forms of rainfall, one soft and patient, the other full of motion and sound, and explore how both are part of nature's quiet balance. Gentle rain often forms from widespread, layered clouds, usually stratus or nimbostratus. These clouds are broad, low, and grey, stretching across the sky like a weighted blanket. They don't tower, they don't swirl, they simply settle in place, quietly saturated with moisture. From them, rain falls slowly, steadily. The droplets are small but numerous. They descend with grace. They don't splatter or sting. Instead, they coat the world in stillness, painting leaves with shine, softening sidewalks, encouraging everything below to pause. This kind of rain is restful. It seeps into the soil. It nourishes deeply. Farmers and foresters often call it soaking rain. Not flashy, not sudden, just generous. On the other side of the spectrum are the rains of strong storms. These are formed in cumulonimbus clouds, tall, billowing towers of rising air and moisture. These clouds stretch high into the atmosphere, shaped by powerful updrafts and shifting winds. Within them, raindrops grow quickly, colliding and gathering, until they become large, heavy, and eager to fall. When these clouds release their rain, it often comes fast. Large droplets strike the earth with purpose, bouncing off hard surfaces, filling gutters, running down glass. Thunder may rumble in the distance. Lightning may flicker beyond the clouds. The air feels charged, alive. But even here, inside the strongest storm, rain is still rain, still a gift, still part of the same cycle that began in quiet vapor and will end in calm puddles. The difference is in the motion, the energy, the tempo, and yet neither is better, neither is worse. Gentle rain softens, storm rain stirs. Both cleanse the air, both feed the soil, both belong to the rhythm of weather. So tonight, whether you imagine the light tap of drizzle or the deeper hum of a distant downpour, you're listening to the same language. The sky has many ways of speaking, and rain is one of its calmest voices. Some clouds carry their rain, but never release it. They hang heavy in the sky, dark and full, suspended above the landscape with a quiet kind of weight. You look up and expect to feel a drop, but nothing comes, not yet. These are the clouds that hold, the ones that wait, and tonight we drift into their tension and their restraint. Clouds form when warm, moist air rises and cools, allowing vapor to condense into countless tiny droplets. As more air rises, the cloud thickens, moisture accumulates, it becomes denser, more textured, shadows deepen, and still, no rain. Why? Sometimes the droplets inside these clouds remain too small. They float, suspended, never growing large enough to fall. Coalescence may be limited. The atmosphere may be too stable. There may be no updrafts or downward push to assist. Other times, the air below is too dry. Raindrops begin to fall, but they evaporate before reaching the ground. This invisible release is still real. It's called virga, as we explored earlier. But from below, it feels like nothing at all. Just a heavy sky that holds its breath. There's also a kind of emotional beauty in these clouds. They mirror us at times, quietly full, quietly burdened, not quite ready to let go, not unwilling, just suspended. We see them often in the moments before a shift, before the wind changes, before the first drop breaks through. But some clouds never release their rain. They simply drift, trailing moisture through the sky without release, holding their water like a lullaby never sung. And still, they offer something: shade, soft light, mood. They wrap the world in a different kind of stillness. And when they do choose to rain, if they ever do, it often starts softly. A single drop, then another. The quiet beginning of something that has waited long enough. But tonight, let's rest with the clouds that haven't yet reached that moment. Let's linger in the in-between. Above you now, perhaps even as you listen, there may be one of these clouds, hanging quietly, full of moisture, full of possibility, but still. Not every cloud must let go. Some simply float, heavy but harmless, present but patient, waiting, watching, and reminding us that even the sky carries what it needs, until the moment is right to release. There is a moment before rain begins, a moment so quiet, so subtle, it can be easy to miss. It's not just stillness, it's expectation, a feeling in the air, a shift, as if the world holds its breath. Tonight, we settle into that soft space between cloud and rainfall, the in-between, the hush, the silence that begins it all. Up above, the clouds have gathered. They've thickened. They've built their soft towers and drawn moisture from the air below. Inside, droplets have formed and grown, drifting in suspension. Some have already begun to fall, but not quite yet. Down below, the light begins to change. Colors mute slightly, shadows soften. The air takes on a new scent, damp and earthy, like soil preparing to receive a visitor. Even birds seem to pause, leaves still. People look skyward, sensing something that hasn't yet happened. And then, nothing, just silence. It's a sacred kind of quiet, the final inhale before the rain exhales. In meteorology, this moment is often observed just before the first drops fall. The clouds have reached their threshold, the moisture is ready, but the release hasn't begun. The conditions are in place, but the sky hasn't yet chosen to let go. Why the pause? Sometimes it's because the heaviest part of the cloud hasn't passed overhead yet. Sometimes A brief updraft lifts the falling droplets back into the cloud before they can reach the ground. Sometimes it's just timing, a brief delay as the atmosphere shifts from holding to releasing. But to us, standing beneath that sky, it feels like a quiet conversation between earth and air, a waiting, a gentle asking, will it rain now? Will the sky let go? And then, so softly, you might not even hear it. Yes, the silence is the curtain. The first drop is the beginning of the performance. Tonight, let your thoughts rest in that hush. Let your body settle into the moment before the rain, not in anticipation, not in tension, but in comfort, because in that pause there is peace, a world slowed down, a breath held in stillness, and the soft promise of rain to come. There's nothing quite like the first sound of rain. It doesn't start with thunder. It doesn't demand attention. It arrives quietly, tiptoeing in, a soft, scattered patter, a gentle tap against leaves or windows or rooftops. Each drop makes its own music, and together they compose the sound of peace. Tonight, we'll listen, not with ears alone, but with imagination. At first, it's only a few drops. You may not even notice them unless you're very still. They land with tiny, hesitant touches, like fingers brushing paper. A high tap, a soft ping, a whisper on glass. The sound varies depending on what the raindrops touch. A leaf creates a hollow, velvety thud. Pavement offers a brighter tone, more echo, more sparkle. A tin roof sings with light percussion. A forest floor muffles everything into lullaby. As more drops follow, the rhythm begins to form. Not hurried, not loud, just present. Like a thought becoming a feeling. Like a candle slowly lighting a room. You don't notice when the silence is fully replaced, because the transition is so gentle. What began as a handful of scattered notes becomes a full pattern. The rain becomes a presence, a background comfort, a soft companion. We're often too busy to hear that beginning, but tonight you can listen closely. You can imagine yourself lying beneath a wide roof or nestled in a quiet cabin. The first drops arrive as a question, then an answer, then a conversation between sky and earth. The sound of rain is not just water falling, it's the sound of release, of letting go, of the world being washed, gently and without force. Even science has a name for the way rain sounds: precipitation acoustics. Researchers study the subtle variations, how droplet size affects pitch, how surface tension affects tone, how wind carries sound. But beyond the science is something more emotional. We respond to rain because it soothes, because it connects us to the natural rhythm of the world, because it's soft enough to be forgotten, yet steady enough to comfort. And that sound, at its beginning, is the most tender of all. So tonight, as you drift deeper into rest, let your mind hear those first few drops. One here, one there, then two, then five, then many. Let them fall in your imagination, on rooftops, on fields, on still lakes, on forgotten garden chairs. Let them fill the silence. Let them settle into rhythm, and let that rhythm carry you into sleep. Tonight, we follow just one raindrop, not a storm, not a shower, just a single gentle drop, its entire life traced from the moment it forms to the moment it lands. Our story begins high in the atmosphere, within a quiet grey cloud drifting across the sky. Inside, water vapor is beginning to gather. Invisible moisture, once scattered through the air, cools and condenses. Tiny droplets form around microscopic particles of dust or pollen. These droplets drift, suspended in a delicate balance between rising air and gravity's pull. Among them is one tiny droplet, our traveller. It begins small, weightless, barely more than a shimmer, but over time, through soft collisions and patient merging with other droplets, it begins to grow. It brushes gently against others, and when the conditions are just right, they stick together. This is coalescence, a quiet gathering, a becoming. Soon, the droplet is large enough to feel gravity's invitation. It begins to fall, not sharply, not heavily, just a soft descent. It slips out of the cloud and enters the open sky. Along its path, it feels the air, cool and damp at first, then shifting as it falls through different layers. The droplet spins slightly, shaped by wind, flattened just a little at the bottom, by the air it moves through. Sometimes it brushes past other droplets. Sometimes it gathers more mass. Sometimes it simply falls alone. The wind may nudge it, but it doesn't resist. It surrenders to the downward drift, passing silently through sunlight or shadow, unseen except by those who take the time to notice. Closer to the ground, the drop prepares for arrival. It may land on a blade of grass, a leaf, a stone, a rooftop, or the open palm of a quiet observer. But wherever it lands, it does so gently. And when it touches the surface, it doesn't end. It begins again. The drop might soak into soil, feeding roots hidden below. It might join a puddle and eventually flow into a stream. It might rest on a flower petal, holding the world in miniature reflection before evaporating back into the sky. But its journey from vapor to form to fall was complete. And tonight, as you rest, you can imagine that same path, floating, gathering, falling, a quiet life, a gentle arrival, the story of a single drop, softly told. Rain touches every surface differently, and while its shape remains the same, the place it lands can change how it feels, how it sounds, and even how it moves after it arrives. Tonight, we listen to the difference between rain in the forest and rain in the city. In the forest, rain meets the earth in stages. The first drops fall onto a canopy of leaves, branches, and soft mosses. They do not hit the ground right away. Instead, they gather on the leaves, pooling gently at the edges before dripping downward, one layer at a time. The forest slows the rain. It catches it, redirects it. A single drop may take minutes to reach the forest floor. Along the way, it may land on a fern, then slip into a hollowed bark, then roll off the edge of a twig before finally touching soil. The sound of rain in the forest is muted, filtered. It's like a whisper passing through velvet. Now, picture the same rain falling in the city. There are no leaves to slow it, no moss to cradle it. Instead, the raindrops fall directly onto rooftops, sidewalks, glass windows, and metal railings. The sound is sharper, more immediate. There is an echo in every impact. The rhythm is quicker, the splash louder. Water pools in gutters. It rushes along curbs. It collects on manhole covers and dances down stone stairways. It becomes movement, momentum, and yet, both forms are beautiful. The forest invites the rain to linger. The city invites it to move. In the forest, rain feeds roots and replenishes hidden streams. In the city, it washes dust from buildings, cools the pavement, and flows toward rivers and reservoirs. And for those beneath the sky, whether under branches or umbrellas, the rain brings the same reminder that we are part of something shared. The same clouds, the same drops, the same softness. Whether softened by soil or bouncing off concrete, rain connects all places. So tonight, let your mind drift between both. The hush of rainfall on forest leaves and the rhythmic tap on a city windowpane. Different voices, same sky, same song. There is a moment during every rainfall that feels like a gentle surprise. You're standing still, maybe walking slowly. The sky is grey, the breeze is still. You can feel the air shift, but there's no sound yet, no rhythm, just that familiar quiet. And then, the first drop lands on your hand, your cheek, the back of your neck. Cool, soft, unexpected. It doesn't sting, it doesn't push. It simply rests, delicate and round, a gift from the sky, placed like a fingertips touch. Tonight, we'll stay in that moment. We'll imagine it together. The first drop is rarely loud. It doesn't call attention to itself. It simply arrives. It chooses a path, falling through layers of air, passing wind and light, and then, with the weight of a feather, it touches skin. Meteorologically, it's no different than the millions of other drops that will follow. But emotionally, it feels special. It's the introduction, the start of a conversation, the first word in a language you didn't know you missed. Your skin, warmed by your body and cooled by the air, receives it with heightened awareness. You feel the temperature shift, the soft contrast between self and sky. You pause, you look up. The clouds seem closer now. One drop, then another. But the first is always the one you remember. That single droplet carries more than water. It holds anticipation. It signals a transition from dry to wet, from waiting to receiving, from stillness to motion. It's remarkable how gentle that moment is. Nature doesn't rush the beginning. It lets the first few drops fall alone, spaced apart, each one a quiet introduction. And you are part of that moment. There's intimacy in it, a sense that the sky has reached down, chosen you to receive its first gesture. Before the puddles, before the steady rhythm, before the soaking begins, there is this, one drop, a soft hello, a cool breath, a reminder that the sky sees you. So tonight, as your thoughts drift and your breathing slows, let yourself feel it. The sensation of bare skin and falling water, a single rounded drop, cool then warm, still then gone, a memory shaped in moisture, the first touch of rain. A cloud never lets go all at once. Even when it looks full, heavy, grey, brooding, it doesn't release its moisture in a rush. It begins softly, carefully, gradually. Rain is not a sudden surrender. It is a slow letting go. Tonight, we settle into that process, the gentle, unhurried release of a cloud as it begins to rain. Within the cloud, countless droplets have gathered, each formed through condensation, nurtured by rising air, shaped by temperature and time. Together, they drift, suspended, waiting. At some point, enough droplets gather, enough weight builds, and the first ones begin to fall. But not all of them. The cloud holds on for a while. It lets go in waves, in rhythms. Some areas release more quickly, others wait. The updrafts still stir, lifting some droplets back into the body of the cloud. Evaporation occurs near the edges. There's resistance, there's process. From the ground, the rain may seem steady, but within the cloud, it is a negotiation, a soft unwinding, a quiet yes. Meteorologists understand that cloud structure plays a role. Thicker clouds, with more vertical depth, may rain longer. But even the heaviest clouds rain in phases. They pulse, they flow, they breathe. The idea of a cloud emptying is not entirely accurate scientifically. Clouds can continue to receive moisture from below, even as they release it above. But emotionally, the image feels true. We see a dark cloud and feel its fullness. We hear the first drops and sense its unraveling. We stand beneath it and feel its burden lessening. And then, eventually, the rain stops. not because the cloud was forced to stop, but because it finished letting go. It surrendered in its own time. No thunder, no drama, just rain. And then, no rain. The release is quiet. The letting go is natural. Tonight, let that image rest with you. A cloud, heavy but calm, full of moisture, yet measured, not holding back forever, not giving everything at once, just releasing gently, one drop at a time, until it feels lighter, until there's nothing more to carry, until the sky is soft again, and the earth is ready. There comes a moment after the rain has fallen for some time, when everything begins to slow. The rhythm softens, the drops grow fewer, and the cloud, once full and generous, begins to rest. This is when the cloud is spent. It has given all it can, and now it begins to let go of the rain, not in waves, but in whispers. The steady fall becomes scattered, then sporadic, then still. This part of the rain story is quiet, peaceful, often overlooked, but it holds a gentle kind of beauty, a softness that only arrives once the sky has finished speaking. Inside the cloud, most of the droplets have fallen. The moisture that once clung to particles of dust and salt has been released, returning to the earth below. The updrafts have weakened, the balance has shifted. What remains is a kind of echo, not in sound, but in air, in mist, in light. A fine vapor may linger near the ground. A few droplets may still fall, spaced far apart, as if reluctant to leave. The cloud begins to lift, its base rising, its edges blurring, and all around, the world begins to exhale. When a cloud is spent, it doesn't disappear immediately. It thins, it stretches, it begins to drift. The structure softens, the weight is gone. What's left is memory. You can feel it in the air, that post-rain stillness, that washed-clean scent of petrichor, of leaves brushed by water, of stone meeting sky. Sometimes the sun begins to return, not abruptly, but gently. Light filters through the thinning veil of moisture. Shadows reappear, colors brighten. The cloud itself may glow from within, no longer heavy with rain, but brushed with gold or silver from behind. And in this light, there is peace. The earth feels softer, the air lighter. You may hear birds beginning to stir again. You may notice the glint of droplets still clinging to branches and blades of grass. The rain has passed. The cloud has offered all it had, not in a rush, not in a storm, just in rhythm, just in time. Tonight, you might think of this moment as a metaphor for rest, for letting go when it's time, for knowing when you've given enough, for becoming quiet again after fullness. So, let your body mirror the spent cloud. Let your thoughts grow lighter. Let your breath soften. Let what remains be only mist and calm, and the hush of everything returning to stillness. The rain has fallen, the droplets have danced, the earth has listened, and now the sky begins to change. After the last drop, there is always a moment of pause, a transition. The atmosphere adjusts, reshaped by what has just passed, and the sky, once heavy and grey, begins to open. We rarely notice how quietly this happens. The clouds don't vanish, they shift, they thin, they drift apart. Their undersides brighten, edges sharpen, then soften again, backlit by returning light. This is the gentle aftermath of rain. The air feels different, cooler, but not cold, fresher, but not empty. It's as if the atmosphere has been rinsed clean. Dust has settled. Pollen is washed away. The sky has been reset. If the sun begins to return, it often does so slowly. You might notice a faint glow first, a hint of brightness behind distant clouds. Then, A beam of light stretches across a damp field or reflects from a puddle. Even the colors feel changed. Blues become deeper, greens more vivid, surfaces glisten. Everything holds a kind of softness, as though the world is still wrapped in a thin film of water and light. Meteorologists note that air pressure often rises after a rainstorm, signaling more stable weather to follow. The cloud layers break. Cooler air may settle near the ground. The entire system shifts toward calm. But for those beneath it, it just feels gentle. You may hear distant dripping, water sliding off eaves and leaves. You may smell the damp soil. You may see the clouds reshaping into new forms, wandering toward the edges of the sky. After the rain, the world feels attentive, awake but quiet, changed. In this new sky, everything seems to wait, as if time has slowed, as if nothing needs to happen right away. Tonight, you can rest in that feeling, the sense that the storm has passed, not violently, but peacefully, the sense that the world has exhaled. The sky above you is no longer asking, no longer preparing. It has released, received, and now it watches, softly. So let your thoughts float upward into this space. Let them stretch into clouds that no longer rain. Let them feel the shift in pressure, in light, in air, and let them settle into the quiet joy of what follows. Rain ends, and in its wake, a changed sky. Rain never truly ends. Even after the clouds drift, after the last droplet touches down, after the sky brightens and the soil dries, rain is already on its way back. It is part of a cycle as old as the earth itself, a gentle rhythm of rising and falling, gathering and releasing. Tonight, we reflect on that quiet return, the endless breath of water moving through sky and land. It begins with evaporation. As the sun warms the earth, water begins to lift. Not with urgency, not with sound, but slowly, softly, molecule by molecule. Water from lakes, rivers, oceans, and even damp leaves begins to rise into the air. This vapor is invisible. It drifts upward unnoticed, held by warm air, carried by wind. And then, high above, where the air cools and the pressure changes, this vapor condenses. Tiny droplets form. Clouds are born. Rain gathers. It waits. And then, it falls again. What we call the water cycle is truly a loop of softness. Rain does not fall just once. The same molecules return, perhaps weeks, months, or even years later. What rains in your garden tonight may have once drifted above a distant sea. What you feel on your skin could have touched mountaintops, meadows, oceans, and air. Nothing is lost. Everything moves. Even water that sinks deep into the ground will one day return, drawn back by sunlight, lifted into the sky, shaped into clouds, and so the rain begins again, always. Meteorologists track this cycle with precision, studying evaporation rates, condensation levels, dew points, and rainfall totals. But beyond the data, there's something peaceful in simply knowing that the rain has a place to return to. It's never truly gone, and even tonight, even now, somewhere in the world, it is beginning again. A new drop, a new cloud, a new moment of descent. The rain falls, and someday it rises. So as you breathe in now, let your thoughts follow that cycle, rising like mist, floating like vapor, falling like calm rain, round and round, soothing and sure, and always beginning again. Rain doesn't only fall, it sculpts, it carves, it shapes the surface of the earth in ways both slow and profound. Tonight, we drift into this gentle truth that even something as soft as a raindrop has the power to change the world, one fall at a time. When rain touches soil, it doesn't always sink in immediately. Some of it begins to move, flowing gently downhill, following the path of least resistance. This movement becomes a trickle, a rivulet, a stream, and over time, those small flows become rivers. Raindrops, multiplied across time and terrain, cut pathways into the land. They wear away stone, they hollow out valleys, they feed lakes and fill oceans, they shape cliffs and smooth mountains. This process is called erosion, but it's not destruction, it's transformation. The world you see today was shaped, in part, by falling rain. A canyon formed over millennia by rainfall flowing through rock. A winding riverbed carved by generations of storm and sun. Even the smooth curve of a hill, softened by centuries of water's patient touch. Rain also nourishes. It carries nutrients through the soil, helping plants grow. It fills aquifers underground. It creates the habitats that life depends on. It cleanses, it renews, and yet it does so without force. Even a heavy downpour is part of something peaceful when seen from above, from a distance, from the slow rhythm of geologic time. Raindrops don't shout, they whisper their changes. They sculpt with softness, and the earth listens. Tonight, imagine the journey of rain not only through air, but across the land. Picture droplets dancing down hillsides, joining others to form streams, meandering through meadows, carving their way gently through earth and stone. Even the rock yields in time. Even the strongest shapes soften under the patience of water. There's a comfort in that. That change doesn't always need to be sudden. That even the gentlest touch, repeated over time, can reshape the world. So let the thought of rain carry you tonight. Not just falling, but flowing. Not just touching, but transforming. Because rain isn't only weather, it's movement, it's memory, and it's the quiet artist of the earth. We often think of rain as something falling down, but what if we imagined it differently? What if, instead of falling, it was rising first? What if rain was part of the earth's breath? A gentle exhale, a release, a rhythm. Tonight, we soften into that idea. That rain is not just a gift from clouds, but the earth's own way of balancing itself. Moisture, rising from leaf and soil, from sea and stone, drawn upward in invisible waves. The planet breathes out, and in time, the sky responds. It begins with evaporation, when the sun gently warms oceans, lakes, and damp fields. Water begins to lift, not with speed, but with ease. From every surface, petals, bark, rivers, skin, vapor rises. It joins the air, travels higher, and forms the clouds above. In this way, rain begins with release. A letting go of moisture from the land to the sky, from roots to wind, from tide to cloud. The earth gives, and in return, receives. Eventually, what rose will fall again. What drifted into air will return as drops, and what leaves the surface returns to it, cooler, cleaner, and part of a larger cycle. This is homeostasis, balance, nature's quiet breath. Meteorologists describe it through the water cycle, but here we feel it more softly, like breath in a sleeping body, rising and falling, never forced. The earth warms, it exhales, the atmosphere listens, it holds, and then it rains. In this view, clouds are not strangers. They are part of the same system, extensions of the Earth's own rhythm. The sky is not separate. It is the other half of a conversation. Even in dry places, the breath continues. Dew on desert leaves, mist on morning stone. Everything participates. Tonight, you might imagine the breath of the world as your own. A slow exhale. Moisture rising from forests, fields, and oceans. Becoming cloud, becoming rain. Each cycle softens. Each breath renews. And every drop, that falls began with something lifted, rain, as the earth's exhale. Now we arrive at the end of our gentle journey. The clouds have gathered, the droplets have formed, the rain has fallen, softly, steadily, endlessly, and now we rest beneath it. Whether it's falling outside your window now, or only imagined in your mind, the sound of rain above us has a unique power. It lulls, it comforts, it welcomes sleep. Tonight, we settle beneath that sound. Maybe it's a slow drizzle, light drops tapping against glass, so faint they seem to echo only in your thoughts. Maybe it's a steady shower, soft and rhythmic, like fingers brushing a drum. Or maybe it's the memory of rain, the sound from a childhood roof, or a tent in the woods, or a quiet evening in a place you once called home. Whatever form it takes, rain above has a way of wrapping around us, a kind of sky-born blanket. It draws a curtain around the day, not with darkness, but with rhythm, with hush, with stillness. There is no pressure in this rain, no urgency, just repetition, a pattern of gentle percussion that fades in and out of your awareness, encouraging your breath to match its pace. Soft, even, slow, you are safe beneath it, held. The roof doesn't push it away, it welcomes the sound. The walls don't close you in, they cradle you like the inside of a cloud. And even if the rain is only in your imagination, its softness is real. Tonight, let the sound of rain, whether present or pictured, guide you gently inward. Let it quiet the mind, let it ease the body, let it soften the edges of thought and time. Each drop is a whisper, each whisper a lullaby. There is nothing more to understand, nothing more to hold, just the rain, just the night, just the breath of sky meeting earth, and you, somewhere in between, drifting, settling, becoming still, falling asleep with rain above. And as our soft exploration of how rain begins in the clouds comes to a close, I hope you found comfort in the quiet journey, from mist to raindrop, in the rising vapor, the drifting clouds, and the gentle descent of water back to earth. May you have discovered a rhythm that soothes you. There's something deeply calming about knowing the rain is always returning, always cycling, always arriving in softness. May the rhythm of falling water bring you peace. May the hush of clouds offer you rest, and may the presence of gentle rain, real or imagined, be a reminder that you are held by something larger, slower, and deeply kind. If you'd like to return for more calming meteorology, you're always welcome here. Feel free to subscribe if it feels gentle and easy. No pressure, just a soft invitation. But for now, there's nothing more to do. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts drift like vapor. Let the rain outside your window, or only within your mind, carry you deeper into sleep. You've heard the story of water tonight. Now, let it lull you to rest. Good night, peaceful dreams, calm skies to you.